diamond hands investing, this idea that you should never sell your investments because that's how investing works. I don't know. This is kind of a goofy idea that in some circles can be thought of as good advice, like traditional investment, like vehicles, like Roth IRAs or 401ks, retirement plans, holding for the long term and not, cycling your stocks. That's good advice. Buying the highs, buying the lows. You just keep on buying, and then eventually, you'll be able to retire because your account will have accrued enough money to meet your goals. This is traditional. This is, kind of a cliche as old as time. But I hear this idea of being diamond hands really circulated most among people in highly speculative investment circles. The really weird and speculative stocks, like, GameStop, obviously. You hear it a lot in Pokemon and Magic the Gathering, collectibles, cryptos, of course. And I don't think that this is good investment advice for all investment classes, obviously. Look at how many people have lost money on, the aforementioned investments like Pokemon, cryptos. But I especially don't think it's good advice for all people. And I think that this advice really lends itself to a specific type of person. And if you find yourself taking this investment advice, but being really unhappy in the short term, maybe rethink how you invest your money. And to get into this, I'm going to take you back to about 2005. I'm 19 years old and I'm on my way back from the Wisconsin Dells. Yes, the crown jewel of Wisconsin. The Wisconsin Dells is kind of like a amusement park of a town in the middle of nowhere. But it is awesome. You could be like a grown adult and there's gas-powered go-kart tracks that go 30, 40 feet in the air. You're cruising, dipping down these go-kart tracks. There's, water parks, Noah's Ark, big slides, all kinds. It's a lot of fun. If you haven't been to Wisconsin Dells, I recommend it. But I'm on my way back from Wisconsin Dells. I'm driving the car. I have my buddy, my best friend, one of my groomsmen in the back seat, and my then girlfriend next to me in the front, and a girl behind me. We're driving back. It's about August. It's beautiful outside. The sun is shining. I could still remember it. We're probably playing some Fall Out Boy or Ying Yang Twins, whatever was popular back then. And we are just living life in only a way that a 19-year-old can live life. Just not really a care in the world. We have jobs and we have our 19-year-old responsibilities, but nothing really that compares to being a real adult. No shots fired at 19-year-olds. But, the sun is beating down. We got the windows open, just cruising, wind blowing in the hair, 80 miles an hour down the open highway. It's life, man. That's living life. And I'm in the fast lane. I'm going about 80 miles an hour. And we're about to overtake this car that's in the slow lane on the right. And we're getting up to it, right? I can see it off in the distance, about a quarter mile off. And we're catching up to it. And I see it start to veer a little bit. And it's not correcting. It's veering a little bit more. And then all of a sudden you hear the thump, the thump, the thump, the thump, the thump. It's hitting the strips on the side of the road. The strips that are there that are meant to wake you up or to jar you to get you back on the freeway. And all of a sudden, right as we are about to overtake this car, we're at like about maybe 50 yards behind this car. It's right there. It really starts to veer. And now we got a problem. It's in the ditch now. We're all going about 75, 80 miles an hour. And boom. It hits the side rail that's there along the side of the freeway, meant to, I guess, keep cars out of ditches. The corrugated aluminum side rail, it hits that head on and starts flipping end over end, rolling in the ditch. And this is still like 50 yards in front of us. We're watching this all. We're watching this all happen in disbelief, utter shock. I turn to my friend and I'm like, are we all seeing this? Did this just happen? Did I forget? Am I dreaming? What's happening right now? So immediately I turn to my girlfriend. I say, call the police. Tell them we have a car accident. Tell them where we are. There's the mile marker. There's the exit. Get somebody out here quickly. I pull over the car. My friend and I get out. At the time, my friend was in college. He was going to the community college for his EMT certification and his firefighter classes. That's what he was training to be in. I, at the time, had been in the healthcare industry since I've been working in the healthcare industry since I was 16. I started volunteering when I was, I think, 12, somewhere in there. So, and, side note, I've been in the healthcare industry ever since. So we pull over the car, we get out, and we go to assess the situation. There's no other cars around. We're the only people at the side of the road. The girls get out of the car. My girlfriend's on her phone, standing back by our car, which is about 100 yards away from the wreck. My friend and I go up to the car, and we look in the window, and I still remember the car ended up laying on its roof. And the driver, there's two guys inside, a driver and a passenger, who are strapped to the now ceiling of the car, what used to be the floor of the car, into their chairs hanging from the ceiling. And on the roof of the car, which is now the floor of the car, a Dalmatian is sitting on the roof in between the two passengers, kind of looking around like, what is going on? What just happened? He kind of had the same reaction we did. So we got the Dalmatian out of the car, and we just started talking to the driver and the passenger. The passenger was still unconscious. The driver was kind of in and out of it. He was hemorrhaging from the ear. I remember that. I could see that clearly. And we were just talking to him, kind of assessing the situation. In the situation they were in now, we were unsure of the extent of their injuries. There was no sign that there was any kind of gas leak. We couldn't smell gas. There was no smoking or fire. So we decided it would probably be best for now just to leave him in the car and wait for paramedics and emergency personnel to arrive. And we just talked to him. We were like, hey, man, what's your name? I'm Clay. Nice to meet you. I think you've been in a wreck. Did you fall asleep? Yeah, man, I think I fall asleep, type. He's kind of in and out of it. And then, we were only there for about 5 minutes. And then the police arrived first, and then the EMTs and the paramedics and the fire trucks, Jaws of Life, all that. But thinking back on that nowadays, and, this is over half a life ago. I'm 18, 19 years old. Now I'm in my mid 30s. This is a half a lifetime ago for me. But even thinking back on that now, it kind of reminds me of this idea that, I had the presence of mind even back then to do the right thing, to know what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. I had, even then, as I do now, this ability to shut off the anxiety part in my brain and focus on what needs to happen, when it needs to happen, who needs help, how does something need to get done. And I don't think everybody has that. And I don't think that that's a bad thing. I know this can kind of come off as like self-aggrandizing, or that I'm trying to flex or talk myself up. I don't think that that's a bad thing. In fact, I could make several arguments why people who maybe feel anxiety a little bit more readily, who don't have the ability to shut off the noise in their head and kind of get to task, have it better than the people like me who have the ability to block off that emotional reaction. But I do have that ability to block off that emotional reaction. And you might be saying, Clay, what does this have to do with Diamond Hands investing? How does this have anything to do with what we're here to talk about today? Well, as I said earlier, Diamond Hands investing seems to rotate around really speculative investments, at least in the online communities. And I think that this is because these speculative investments, they're so volatile, they fluctuate so much, and so many people have both made a fortune and lost a fortune, that these are very anxiety-inducing investments. And they might not be right for everybody because of that. Maybe you're not the person who has the ability to wall off the emotional reaction when S hits the fan, and you feel you feel every fluctuation of a Bitcoin deep in your soul. You can't sleep at night. You're sweating. You can't focus on your job. You can't focus on your kids. You can't get done what needs to be done because you're worried about, oh my God, Bitcoin just went up 17% or it went down 17%. Should I be selling it? Should I be buying it? Get to Reddit. Find out what they're saying on Reddit. Okay, hold it to the moon, diamond hands, hold it to, okay. I think I'm going to hold it to the moon. I think I'm going to do it. If that's you, there are other ways to invest your money that are far less, I guess, detrimental to your health or your personal well-being. And that's what it comes down to for me always. It's not necessarily like, how can I make the most amount of money? How can I get the biggest house or the fastest car? It's how can I live the life that I want to live by being the person that I want to be? Can I be the happy person, the self-fulfilled person, the self-actualized person that I want to be while living that life? If I have to do something that I don't like doing, if I have to do something that I think is grimy or it makes me feel bad or anxious while getting to that place, then it's not for me. And I don't mean to, I guess, project my own desires. Maybe you don't have a problem doing things that make you anxious or don't feel very good to get to the life you want to be. And that's okay too. I fully understand that. But to me, it's like, that's one of the most important parts of my life is helping people and being self-actualized, being comfortable in my own skin. And I think that a lot of people would be happier if they were on that same path. Maybe you're anxious about your Pokemon cards. Maybe you should think about selling your position. I don't know. Maybe, you could end up taking a loss. You could end up a bunch of money. But if it's something where you're constantly checking Reddit, the Reddit message boards, like, what should I do? What should I do? That's not really the path that I would suggest a person be on to happiness. And there are other places you could be putting your money in the meantime that are less speculative and would net probably similar returns, maybe not as much infinite upside as, buying Dogecoin at $0.00001 and selling it at $100, and now you're a multi-trillionaire, which I don't know. I don't know if that's really the lifestyle anybody. I don't know. Maybe that's a topic for another video, but maybe there's not as much infinite upside, but maybe like the mental stability that you would feel in the meantime, at least I know this to be true in my life, is worth it. It's worth having the traditional investment vehicles like the Roth IRA and the 401k. And this is how the boomers did it. And they were very successful doing it. So I know everybody likes to take shots at the boomers, but maybe we can learn a lesson or two from them. This is how my dad did it. He doesn't understand having a retail business. Having a retail business, by the way, is a very speculative investment. I know people like come at me like, you treat shiny cardboard like it's the stock market. A retail business is a speculative investment. I have to put up my own assets, my own capital, in order to secure inventory in hopes that somebody's going to buy it. That's speculative. But yeah, this is how the boomers did it. They dripped money into their 401ks. They bought when the market was up. They bought when the market was down. And eventually they cost averaged their portfolios over time. And it works. 10% year over year compounding is a heck of a thing, ladies and gentlemen. And, maybe it's not going to get you that Lamborghini in a week when Dogecoin goes to the moon because Elon Musk can't keep his mouth shut on SNL. But stability and happiness might be good substitutes for a Lamborghini is all I'm saying. Something to think about, and I guess maybe if you don't want to do the 401k, the traditional IRA, maybe you're an entrepreneur, you want to start a business. There are ways that you can do it that are less speculative than retail. You can do something as cringy as starting, I don't know, maybe farming. Maybe you can start like a microgreen thing in your basement, or if you have a little bit of land, like a backyard, you can start farming tomatoes. I don't know. I'm not in the farming sector, but I have heard people who claim to be successful producing, farming on small plots of land and selling it at like farmers markets or to local restaurants who are always looking for fresh produce. All I'm saying is that there are other ways. And if you feel uncomfortable and you feel unsure, that you don't have to follow the pack. Because remember, if you're on Reddit checking like what are people saying about Dogecoin today, remember the people who are posting the diamond hands thing on Reddit, they have a vested interest in you not selling that asset. Usually it's people who are holding that asset and they want to see that asset appreciate in value. And if you start selling it, that means that their asset might depreciate. So, I mean, in all intents and purposes, you're taking advice from people who you probably should be seeing as more competition than as comrade, for lack of a better word. This is not a fun topic, and I understand this might not come off as being very happy. People like to hear like, hold your Pokemon cards for forever. Hold your Dogecoin for forever. Let's address that little weird fairy tale too, by the way. An investment is not to be held for forever. An investment is a place to put your money now and take out more money later. That's the point of an investment, is that someday you're going to sell it for more money than you bought it. So I guess kind of factor that into your whole diamond hands equation too. But yeah, people like to hear videos of like, hold your Pokemon cards. And it's usually people like me who sell Pokemon cards who have a vested interest in the market continually appreciating in value. And, I'm here to say maybe rethink your strategy. Let me know how you feel in the comment section down below. Did I hit the mark? Did I drive the point home? Or did I leave a little bit, was it a little bit lacking? Did I leave a little bit too much to the imagination? You let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you so much to all my new subscribers, all the people who comment on the videos. It's been a wild ride. It's been a lot of fun. It's incredible. It really is. Thank you so much. And as always, I'll catch you later.